This is EMX episode 95. And if you'd like to support us, we have a Patreon page, patreon.com/EMPcast. For as little as $1 a month, you can get our EMBS episodes as they come out. Otherwise, they are released for free a month later. And there are some other tiers for like some swag, like some mugs and some custom toys by me, or like artwork from our abundance of art friends that we are friends with. So yeah, if you could do us a solid and help pay for hosting and shipping and all that good stuff.
Because who doesn't like good stuff?
Yeah.
Good
So
stuff, 2021.
yeah. All right. What have you been up to, Gorman? Gorman.
I was muted. Nothing much. Just kids are out of school finally. Um, got some little vacation planned and just rolling with these two pups. If people are on the Discord, they'll see pictures of them. My little Spike and Vicious. Two troublemaking pups.
Nice.
What about you, Thatch? I know you just came back from a certain convention.
I did. I was at South Coast Comic Con in Bradenton, Florida. Got to hang out in person, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I was the first post-quarantine house guest at
That's right.
the Huynh household. Yeah, so that was cool. I finally got to meet Doctor, his wife, which it's funny because I've known, like I've known Viet longer than he's known his wife, but this was the first time that I actually got to meet her for like 30 seconds, and then like she had to go work, so just like I'm like, at least I know now that she's real, and I don't have to like attempt to schedule some sort of intervention, because after a while, you begin to wonder.
Yeah, it's like all the time. It's like, oh yeah, she has to work. I'm like, no, for real. Like, she really does have to work. She's a real person.
Like, I didn't see her. I stayed at his place Friday and Sunday night, and I didn't see her at all on Friday, but I saw her on Sunday, and I was like, okay, this was like the last chance. So I'm glad that it worked out.
And
Plus, I got to be on
Corey
his
can confirm.
screen.
Corin was at my wedding.
Well, there you go.
That's true.
I won't mention that I wasn't at your wedding. That's fine. We can put that in the past, I guess. Um, but
Sorry.
yeah, it was a good time. It was a good. It's the first year for that show. Um, did pretty good. Did some good attendance for a first year show. This weekend I'm going to be Pittsburgh adjacent for the Steel City Comic Con. Friday, what is that? June 9th? No, Friday I'm leaving on the 9th. Friday the 11th through Sunday the 13th. So
Wow.
that should be cool.
You
I
were talking
hope.
about going up to go see the Superfly guys, right?
Yes, yeah. Because of the slightly more than normal distance, um, I'm going to be driving from my house to Columbus, Ohio, which is about, I want to say it's like 6 hours, maybe 6.5 hours. And Superfly in beautiful, scenic Yellow Springs, Ohio, is right on the way. So I will probably do one of my famous surprise pop ins, unless they're listening, in which case, act surprised when I get there. Um,
Nice.
yeah, because I like to surprise them. I like to keep them on their toes.
Yeah, and Thatcher, I guess he came on. He was hanging out on the Sundays, so he got to be like my Ed McMahon
Yes.
on stream.
Which I feel like was a reference no one on the stream got, because I'm old as shit.
But yeah, good times.
Yes, yes, it was. So hopefully more good times to come. It's just the beginning.
Indeed.
All right. Welcome to EMX. I am Corwin, and with me, as always, is Viet
Hello.
and Thatcher.
Heyo!
This will be 1 hour of uncut, uncensored, and unscripted conversation about the X-Men books from May 2021. Watch for spoilers and hang on to your seats because we are spoiling everything right at this moment. Thatch, what do you want to talk about?
Oh, I get to go first again?
You have the timer
Okay.
going, Corbin?
Yeah, that might kind of be important.
Yes, yes, that's our whole thing. Like that's
Yeah.
our whole shtick.
Yeah.
You would think that
95 episodes in.
95 episodes into it, we might have that down by now. But
Nope.
it's go.
95 episodes in, we always still ask.
Yep. All right, well, let's go because I always like to start off with the new stuff, so we got plenty of time to talk about it. Let's talk about this month's new X-Men title, X-Corp #1. And
I know it's written by Teenie Howard.
Yes, Teenie Howard, written by Teenie Howard, art by Alberto Foce, colors by Sonny Go, and letters by Clayton Cowles. This is an interesting one. This is, I don't want to say it's peculiar, but it is not only is it very different than I think a lot of the just X-Men books in general, it's different from a lot of superhero books in general because it's all very sort of like businessy, sort of dealing with the financial repercussions and maneuverings that the X-Men and Krakoans have to go through over the process of selling their magical wonder drugs and sort of the human world kind of beginning to push back on them. So it's an interesting cast. Angel and Monet, and then they're joined by Madrox and Trinary, who's a character that I'm not familiar with, but I'm sure has existed plenty of other places.
Yeah,
X-Men
she showed
Red.
up. Yeah, X-Men Red.
Okay.
Sorry, stole your thunder there.
No worries. That book's one of my blind spots. But I dig it. It's it's not it's a reader and a thinker. It's very
Wordy.
yes. And I don't mean that in a negative way because I like words. I like feeling like I'm getting my money's worth. But there's definitely a lot going on. And a lot of sort of, there's the issue's big conflict comes with, while Angel is meeting up with this Brazilian millionaire douchebag, or he's probably a billionaire. I don't know. He's a rich fella.
Yeah.
And they're meeting at some sort of mutant horse race, which is kind of wild. But yeah, so I mean that's where sort of the tension is, and that guy, kind of laying out, and he's like, "Look, the stuff that you guys did in the Savage Land and all this jazz, to kind of like edge us out. All right, we're coming back. We're coming back for you. We're going to take you to the UN. Which, if there's never been a more toothless threat than we're going to set the UN on your ass. Like,
exactly.
ooh,
oh no,
like,
not the
oh
UN.
no, they're gonna, yeah. What are they going to do? Do have a non-binding resolution against me?
They'll write a strongly worded letter.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, yeah, what are they, Democrats? But and also but yeah, like there's some cool Madrox stuff in it. I feel like Madrox hasn't done a whole lot again that I've seen since the Peter David X Factor run, which was all noir-y and detective-y and pretty cool. And Monet was in that book, so it's nice that they've kind of kept that friendship going, although the tables are a little turned this time around with Monet sort of being his boss, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm interested to see where this goes, especially since they have a cool flying island headquarters.
I don't like Madrox's little white highlights in the front of his head. I understand maybe that they're trying to differentiate the Prime from the rest of them, but that doesn't do it for me.
I didn't really notice them that much. I mean, I happened to notice them on the page that I was on. I still, and I feel kind of bad about this, but I still sort of only vaguely get Monet's powers. I always just kind of like roll with it because it's like I remember, like, back in the day when Monet and Penance were like two separate people in the old Generation X book, and then that's when I sort of stopped paying attention, and then she didn't really show up on my radar again until that Peter David X Factor book, and I was like, oh, okay.
He was like, oh, she can fly.
Things have,
Oh, she's
yeah,
also super strong. Also, she's also psychic. You're just like,
yeah,
what?
I'm like, so she's just got a lot of, you know what? It's cool. It's cool. However we want to play this, that's fun.
She's just Monet-ing it up.
Well, I think she still has autism. I'm not sure if that ever went away. So every once in a while, she would zone out, and yeah, I have to look that stuff up again. It's been so long.
Yeah, like I had, you kind of have to be in the mood for this book, to be honest. As someone that woke up at 4:30 this morning, this was really tough to get through.
Yeah, I will say, like, this is like, you have to know what you're getting into. This is not like your average. I mean, and again, and this is, Excalibur is kind of this way too.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not, just like a sit down, grab some popcorn, watch some, people shoot lasers out of their eyes. Like, it's not that kind of book. And that's cool. I like that, they're including books like that in the lineup.
Yeah. And yeah, it's funny because, like, people would be like, no one ever talks about, like, the political stuff or like the logistical stuff in regards to being a mutant and, running, like, or it rarely happens. And whenever you do, and then sometimes you're not in the mood for it, and then you're just like, I don't want to worry about politics and logistics. But I mean, it makes sense, and there's room for it, and like I said, this was just not a good day for me to read it. But
I mean, the corporate espionage angle is cool for a while. I could see it maybe being a 4 or 5 issue thing, but overall, I mean, I don't know how they can keep this going for 12 issues or something. It'll really start to get tedious.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know about tedious, but I think it's like, this is like a lot of books, this is sort of, your first issue, you got your warm up, this is, we're kind of wetting your whistle, we're letting you know this is what we're doing with it. So yeah, like, it'll be definitely interesting to see what kind of, because I think, I feel like we've just scratched the surface of like what this book is going to be doing.
right.
There's going to be some, the stuff with this Brazilian dude. It's not over. So.
And politically speaking, like Brazil, like, politically is pretty terrible right now.
Yeah. I was gonna say there's a lot you could do. Like,
Yeah.
I just got done watching John Oliver, this week's John Oliver before the we recorded, and yeah, they're talking about, like, I mean, Bolsonaro's kind of a nut job anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, like, their COVID response has been like, if you think we're crazy here in the U.S., well, have we got a country for you?
Yeah, it's up there in some of the worst.
So they're trying to outdo us? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah,
Trying
yeah,
to one up us?
Yeah.
yeah.
How do I feel about that?
They're trying to outworse us.
Outworse us. I like that.
Yeah. But
How did you guys feel about the art?
yeah, I you know what? It's not flashy, and it's not like it's, but I feel like it's the perfect art for this kind of book. Like it's very, I don't want to say simple because again, that makes it sound like there's a value judgment there. But I think it's just very, like you can't have like a Jim Lee or a, Ed McGuinness or something like drawing this book. That's not, you're not gonna, that's using a Ferrari to go get groceries. Um,
Yeah,
this
it
is,
doesn't need to be like yeah, it doesn't need to be, this isn't an action packed uh book. But I mean, where there is action, I mean, I think there's good storytelling.
yeah.
Agreed.
Plus, you've got like I don't know. I really want to know more about this like crazy ass horse race that they're at. Like I'm
Yeah.
just like we're kind of. I don't want to say you're burying the lead, but like you've got one with like an energy main on it, and then
Yeah, and they're fighting each other in the middle
yeah.
of the race.
Like if this is what the Kentucky Derby is like, I have been missing out.
Agreed.
And their flying base.
Yep.
Yeah, flying
Glad
base.
I'm glad somebody picked up on Peter David's use of like multiple man in his X Factor run, where he can send a dupe out to go master something, and then come back and bring the knowledge to him. So
Hmm.
them making him a bit of a scientist here and helping with the research really makes sense, and it was a good touch.
I've got to say, like, just overall, like in general, his powers are just the most like when you really sit down and think about it, like his powers are the most like just insane. Like the ability to do that, that's nuts.
Yeah. It is like, and it wasn't until I saw Madrox I'm like, okay, like I've grown interest in this. And thank you, Christine, for the raid. Welcome on in.
Yay!
We have a raid, a party of 8 to the
Nice.
podcast.
Their table is ready.
Yes. So welcome on in, Christine Brunson. Let me give her a shout out. And yeah, today we are talking about the X-Men books of May 2021. We just got done talking about X-Corp #1.
And I will go next, and I am so many goodies here. Let's talk about X Factor #9.
X Factor.
Number 9. Number 9.
Right? Okay. You made me consider
Yes.
if I
Leah Williams. Writing.
David
Yep.
David Baldion on arts, Israel Silva on colors, and Joe Carmagna on letters. We've been loving this book so far, and I like this issue, but it just, now that we know that the book is ending or going on hiatus, you can really tell that she had to rush to finish everything off and to wrap it up. It just was a little bit sad that they had to do it like that in order to close everything out. The whole Shatterstar angle, how he can kill the what's she called again?
Morgan.
The Morgan. That whole thing just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't even think they hinted at it or brought it in any kind of fashion, any foreshadowing, or just explanation of why he's the one to be able to do this. I know he's the pureborn warrior and all this other stuff. I do like how they implemented some. I want to say Irish, but it could be Scottish. Irish, right?
I mean,
Irish.
yeah, Siren is Irish. Yes.
Okay. I like how they incorporated some of that art in there with the Morgan and the whole bullfight thing. That was a nice touch I didn't quite expect to see.
Yeah, on it, like I feel like a little bit of rushing is kind of par for the course on stuff this month. I feel like there's a couple of other books that sort of hit that. So I feel like that's more Hellfire Gala than this particular book ending. But at the same time, I I didn't really see it didn't really feel like the Shatterstar stuff definitely came kind of out of left field, but at least we had, the Mojo verse connection earlier in the series. Um but yeah, it didn't feel super rushed to me.
Shatterstar, his costume is so like he's like a himbo. Like
That's all Shatterstar ever needs to be.
exactly. Like
That is
he's
his
got some
bread and fucking
yeah
butter.
yeah he's got like some shorty shorts. He's got some baggy boots, shorty shorts and baggy boots. I wonder if I can share some. I wonder if I can share a window capture. Let me try to do this. Yeah, there we go. Look at Shatterstar. It's such an interesting design. Look at me being a professional streamer. Take a look at that.
Shatterstar is all about the flair and the battle. He has to please the crowd.
Christine says, agreed.
The splash page with Dazzler was really nice too, even though they didn't quite give you a proper direction to read everything in.
Yeah,
Steen
there
said
was
100% less pockets and more shorts.
So there's a little storytelling issue there and here and there, but overall, I enjoyed it. I know Polaris got drafted to the main book, so it looks like this book may be ending. But I guess we'll see after the trial of Magneto what's really going on. But sad to see it go, but you know what? Maybe they do need to cut back on the books a little bit.
I think honestly, like, yeah, if they just kind of like shuffle stuff around for like, 8, 12, 15 issues at a time or whatever, like, that's great in my opinion. Do that. Comics, in my opinion, comics needs more of that. Like X-Corp, like, yeah, like that's a book that, 10 issues, 12 issues, 15 issues, do your business and then, bomb out.
You're much more generous than I am. I'd say 5 or 6, but we'll see. I mean, writer's talented, I'll give her that, so maybe she can make it work for longer than that.
And I like the tie in, or like at least, introducing that like Richter and Shatterstar, had a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I honestly, I don't think you could do a, like Shatterstar Richter thing and not, mention or like, not acknowledge their romantic past without people just losing their minds.
Right.
If they tried to put that genie back in the bottle, no, that's not happening.
Remember
It's
when
not
they were
happening, Disney.
remember when they were trying to like was it North Star was like how does that even possible when it comes to Shatterstar like being like his own father and all that stuff, and I was just like, let me tell you about the story about Longshot and Shatterstar. Yeah. Let me tell you about.
No wonder he's such a himbo. He's like the Philip J. Fry of the fucking X-Men.
Yep.
Yeah, but solid book.
Agreed.
What you got, Viet?
All right. I will see. Let's go with New Mutants number 18. And this is written by Vita Ayala, and where's the rest of the creative team here?
Rice.
Rod Rice on the art, VC's Travis Lanham on the letters. And yeah, this is pretty heartfelt. Like we get the trial by com, and apparently Silver Samurai is back alive.
Resurrection.
But he died in Otherworld.
No. That's Gorgon.
Oh, Gorgon. Okay, gotcha.
Gorgon
Oh
is
yeah.
back, and
Silver Samurai was left behind.
yeah,
I mixed them up. Gotcha.
They were like making fun of him. They're like, all right, sword guy, why don't you stay home while we go fight with real swords?
Yeah. Okay, now I remember that. So yeah, they had like a good a good moment between Danny and Karma, and yeah, just I thought this was a good issue, right? Like uh we're finally getting some more stuff with the Shadow King, and and Scout is rightfully not trusting the Shadow King.
I think it's even more messed up too that Rain is apparently all in on the Shadow King's bullshit.
Right.
Like that was kind of like a legitimately spooky moment. That was like I'm leading you to this place to be indoctrinated into the cult.
How do you guys feel about the Crucible now that Apocalypse isn't leading it? I mean, we've had Magneto in there. We've had now Karma and Moonstar. I mean, do you guys feel it's the same without Apocalypse, or is it somehow?
I mean, it definitely feels a little different in the sense that I don't want to say it feels unnecessary, but like Apocalypse very much, I think embodies like the pomp and circumstance of sort of like and like the ritualization of it. I think that was really his bread and butter. They were like, "Hey, we're going to do this thing where they're going to fight," and he's like, "No, don't. I've got notes on this. I've been jotting down stuff on this for years. I've got this. You guys like go worry about plants and stuff like that. Like I've got the whole like weird we're gonna fight to the death thing nailed down." And I feel like, and it's something that they keep touching on in that they touched on a lot in Way of X. But it feels like without Apocalypse, it has sort of like a greater possibility to kind of go off the rails a bit.
Yeah, that was my question too, because when these two take that final samurai swipe at each other, what if she would have killed Danny? What would have happened then? What if the person who was trying to get their fire back is the one that actually wins? What happens then?
Yeah, like they just go, "Oh, I guess you're good," and they're like, "No, I'm really not good."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess she'll get revived as well.
Also, quick question. I don't know if it's just an art thing at the very end, but exactly. Does Karma still have a metal leg? Because again, I'd be like if I were her and like I come out of like the goo egg, like the mutant's Cadbury egg, and I looked down and saw I was still missing part of my leg, I'd be like, guys, can you pop me back in for like 10, 15 more minutes?
There was there's quite a furor online about that, and what's the term, ableist or something?
I can see that. That's obviously coming from a place of privilege that didn't occur to me, but
I thought the same thing too.
I feel like it's something that, and I realize that there's going to be like there's a lot going on, but that's something that should be talked about. With that in mind, to be like and with whichever way it is, like whether or not she comes back, it's an art error. and she was, meant to have like a regular leg, or she
Actually, when
deliberately.
you look at her when she comes out of the egg, she doesn't. She has a regular leg,
It's really hard to tell at that
or at
angle.
least you can. I mean, at least from her
Eye.
thigh,
Yeah.
you can see it's like
Well, but if you look in the book, like it's a pretty high up
true.
Yeah, it goes all
prosthesis.
the way up. Yep, you're right.
So it's really like, I honestly feel like they could go either way on this. And seeing as how, given how comics are made, they've already decided which way they're going.
Right.
So like that has already happened.
Yeah. And yeah, and if you really want to nitpick, like on her death scene, right? Like the leg goes all the way up. Like you would have been able to see a metal leg normally, but I mean that's kind of nitpicking on angles and things of that nature.
I thought the same thing. So we will probably see
Yeah.
next.
Also, her brother isn't around, so what happened there?
Well, maybe he's just next. Maybe they just did her first.
Right. I was just like, huh, like her brother isn't.
He's the whole reason for everything. On
And
top of that,
and and I think a good rule of thumb, that we can come from this book and just from any experience with X-Men books, if the person ever don't trust anyone that has spider legs at any point in time, right? Like Shadow King, Mojo, uh, Darth Maul. Like, these are people that you don't want to trust. Like if you ever have spider legs, yeah, just not, if you ever have a spider, yeah, spider like bottom torso, just yeah, not really trustworthy.
I mean, Mojo tried to turn over a new leaf when he fell for that human girl.
Yeah, and he also tried to kill everyone in in X Factor.
I mean,
He's
it's like empath. Can you hold his nature against him?
Yeah, I mean, you can
Yes.
have that power and not be like a massive, like, rapey douchebag like he is. Like, that dude's the fucking worst, man. They need to, you know what? If we're doing a bunch of X-Men books, there needs to be an X-Men book where it's like just the absolute worst people on Krakoa, like Fabian Cortez and Empath, and there's other guys that I'm forgetting right now, but.
Yeah. And the only thing that would make them even worse would be to give those spider legs. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Circle back around.
All right. Well, if that's the case, since I already mentioned it, let's talk about Way of X #2. Because I remember after you read it, you shot something over in the chat where you were like, "Oh, damn." And I'm like, "All right, that's, we got a lot of oh damns going on in these new books, and I appreciate it." Where the hell did it go? Why is
Size
this list?
Barrier writing.
Yeah.
Bob Quinn on arts. Hava Tartaglia on colors. And Clayton Cowles on letters.
Sorry, I literally couldn't even find it on my device.
I was stalling for you.
Yeah. So, yeah, Legion. He's back, and I honestly like. There's a lot going on in this book, and I dig it. I dig the hell out of it. Speaking of, we get Fabian Cortez again, like post being fired from the space station, talking to the doctor guy, Dr. Nemesis. I couldn't remember his name for a second, but yeah. And like the two of them just kind of like sniping at each other, which, I feel like you can kind of include Dr. Nemesis in the worst people on Krakoa thing. He's entertaining, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like, would you be this guy's friend without
an elitist?
yeah, like, and I say that without the psychedelic mushrooms on his head.
Yeah,
Like,
but he's more of a likable asshole.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I mean, you've got to have some people that are at least that you would have to root for a little bit. Um, we get more vomiting with Lost powers kind of going crazy, and yeah, it's there's a lot because it turns out, oh yeah, Legion, he's just a brain in a jar that the Orcus people captured.
That barfing thing's gonna get old really quick.
Yeah, I honestly like I couldn't tell because it looked like they're like that Patchwork Man dude was there on one of those panels, or am I just misremembering what he looks like?
No, I think he did show up there.
Yeah, because he's like he's kind of like like creeping up on Fabian Cortez's shoulder, and I feel like that, and it looked like Lost could see
Him, yeah.
Yeah, and then that's where like the oh my god, I just realized that Dupe was there too.
Yep.
That's amazing. Sorry.
And he's like barfing rainbows.
Yeah. But yeah, Nemesis. Legion's head is exceptionally messed up. And yeah, they basically end up having to Nightcrawler just has to basically put a bullet in the brain in the jar, and they're like, all right, we're gonna rebirth him. And even though the world's worst dad, Professor X, was sort of like, should we though? It's like, yeah, no, I already did it myself, Dad.
I love how they turned his brain into a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and how the experiment they were trying to pull with him, and how even Nightcrawler is like, and before he even pulls the trigger, he tries to do a prayer. He's like, you know what? Get it.
Yeah.
It was powerful. I like that. It was just like, oh, okay, he's really, really trying to come to terms with everything.
Well, and to me, like one of the most interesting aspects of the issue was the acknowledgement of like, because we've talked about like, all right, this is how the resurrection protocols work, and then in X Factor we had this is how the deaths are sort of like investigated and verified, and like the way the process goes. This book seems to really be going into like what are sort of like the lasting, almost like psychological and philosophical implications of being able to just die and come back, like whatever, like it's no big deal. And how like Kurt's talking about how it seems like everyone is a little different, a little darker, a little more excitable, or more emotional, more violent, and whether or not that has anything to do with the thing that was pulled out of his head, and apparently is in a lot of other people's heads. And that thing being everything old is new again.
Yeah.
But Onslaught. It's Onslaught, you guys. We're doing Onslaught. But you know what? The Krakoan version, or like the modern day version of Onslaught, I'm interested to see what that looks like.
Yeah, like I know nobody actually likes Onslaught, but like it's always been a cool design. Like it's always been like a cool looking figure, usually whenever you see it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, granted, it's one of the most 90s characters like ever made. Like a specific kind of, not pouch 90s, but like crazy armored, almost like kind of like Darkhawk, like Darkhawk was kind of like in that zone.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like very, very pointy.
Yeah, a lot of points, a lot of like, metal, very, combat-y, and so it would be interesting to see them do a different take on that.
Indeed.
But yeah, I dig it. This book is definitely becoming one of my favorites.
I love
Agreed.
how Legion's rebirth was something that everybody was drawn to. It was a interesting. I won't even call it like the birth of the Messiah, but it's just like something of such importance that all the mutants were drawn to it. I like that. It was just like, oh, they're making this like a big deal, a big thing.
Yeah. Which, I mean, given who it is,
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like everybody cares except for his dad.
yeah. Again, Charles, you are like he's kind of the fucking worst also. Just like in general, like
Agreed.
his weird Jean Grey crush, being a bad, just being a bad dad in general.
The Professor X is a jerk.
Yeah.
The
She
famous
was
kitty
she
line.
wasn't wrong. Yeah, she wasn't wrong. But
All right.
And I'm like, hey, look, it's Zorns.
yeah, I was like, damn, even they pulled out the Zorn for this one.
Zorn with an X and Zorn with a Z. How you
Oh, that's right. Because I was like, wait, Zorn was there, and who else was it? And it's like, oh yeah,
one with a black hole for a brain and one with a star for a brain. Two brothers.
wild dude.
No, loved it. Loved this issue. Definitely gave me some old vibes of Spurrier's old series with the X Club and X-Men Legacy, which yes, we had hated because of the art especially, but I was excited. That really didn't see it coming. It's just like, oh, they're gonna take it there, Onslaught. Okay, let's see
Yeah,
what they're gonna do with it.
Yeah, like, interesting.
yeah, that really, really came out of left field.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking maybe it was like, maybe tying Shadow King a little bit or something. That's what I was thinking. I was not expecting Onslaught.
It's pretty wild that they're setting up a lot of like major problems on Krakoa,
Yeah.
you know, and that's good because I mean, that was one of the first things that one of the things that I worried about, like when this all kicked off, was like, oh, okay, we're really making it so that they can just straight up not die. That's an interesting storytelling challenge,
Yeah.
and they've kind of risen to it.
Yeah, there's definitely been some challenges, and there's definitely some ethical things like to deal with when you know that you can you can always come back.
I'm beginning to wonder if they're gonna stop it, if they're gonna eventually rescind the protocols. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I think as a society, if things start going too far, I would like to see them eventually one day, at least plan to, in X amount of years, we're going to
X amount of
stop
years.
it. You know what I mean? Eventually, we're going to rescind these protocols, and well, they probably wouldn't do it. It's probably too ingrained in their culture, but I just can't see it being a good thing long term.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain, I have no knowledge, but I'm fairly certain that they've got an exit strategy all ready to go.
Yeah, like the Sentinels or Orcus wins in destroying it or something like that, or they just decide on their own that just like we need like we need to have that the ability to die and to live out our life.
All right.
Your pick, Corin.
Let's do a simple one. Let's go with Children of the Atom.
Oh yeah.
Number 3.
Written by Vida Alaya, Paco Medina on art, David Curiel on colors, and Travis Lanham on letters. I like the fact that we're getting some of the backstory now. They're kind of fleshing out exactly what happened to these characters. We're still not sure if they're any of them. Doesn't look like all of them are mutants. Maybe one of them could possibly be. But I like that they're fleshing things out. I don't see this going on too long. I don't think it's going to keep me interested long term for 12 issues or something like that. It's just, I think they need to finish this arc and then let us see where they're going next. It's good. I think we talked about this aging out thing as well with, what's it called? What's the Avengers book we were talking about? Champions, with the new Champions book, and how we just may be a little bit too old for what they're trying to put down with the kids and stuff. I'm beginning to worry that this is going to fall into that same kind of thing with us, where we're just not that interested. I don't know if it's an age gap thing or what, but
I was very confused about this the space part. Like when does that take place? Right?
the
Like,
very beginning.
Yeah, like
this is how they get their costumes and suits and powers and stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is their origin story. Like, surprise, they went to space camp, and
okay, I see.
like the movie Space Camp, they have accidentally ended up in space, and sometimes when you go into space, wild shit happens.
I mean, most people have enough common sense not to get into an alien shit, but maybe that's just a youth thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'd do it. You got to do it just for the story sometimes. Like, yeah, man, that alien ship, I went inside there. Why wouldn't I?
Good decisions make for bad storytelling, but hey, this puppy will not stop eating my shoelace. Stop it.
Yeah, and yeah, Gimmick is not looking good.
She may be the only mutant, and then from the looks of it, she may not even want to be.
Yeah, I mean, she could end up, or this could be sort of like a change in their powers or something. Like, because I'm willing to bet, when they, came back and crash landed or whatever, they were just like, yeah, we're good. And in the Marvel universe, you're probably absolutely not telling anyone, oh, hey, like I got powers. You're immediately like, oh, time to be a superhero. I need me that secret identity.
Yeah. Or maybe they got some cosmic rays like the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be funny if, like, at the end of this first arc, they're like, yep. So you guys are really more like the Fantastic Four, and they're like, no, we don't accept that. We're X-Men. It's like, yeah, but you're not really mutants, though. You're more no X-Men. We've decided on X-Men. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. We identify as X-Men.
We identify, and again, like I mean, honestly, like I feel like, like it's a funny thing to kind of throw in there, but at the same time, like I think that's where a lot of this book, like that's where its roots are in, like, this sort of like people's cultures and, like identities. And like it starts off like this, like the second issue, was talking about Cherub's home life and like how he's sort of perceived and how he perceives others, and sort of like the kind of going against stereotypes thing. This issue really, like, for lack of a better term, the teen angst
Right.
that Gimmick is going through, where it's like she's trying to do all this stuff and like, I'm gonna have like a cool, like, like a popular YouTube channel, and like I'm like a bit celebrity and I want to be, everyone's counting on me, like that kind of pressure that a lot of that you see like a lot of teenagers are succumbing to nowadays, just with like everything that they're trying to do. I think it's really cool to throw that into a book like this and kind of, spend each issue just sort of like focusing on each one of these new characters, and her unrequited love for her friend there.
Mhm.
I still don't have their names down. Like I barely have Cyclops last, but it's like they're real human names. I got, it's bad enough for me to be able to remember like, people that I actually meet's names.
And I'm totally gonna go on record with the fact that I'm not a fan of their code names.
Yeah.
Cyclops last, Daycrawler, Marvel guy. Sheriff isn't bad, Gimmick isn't bad, but those first three, it's like,
Yeah.
I think it's I feel like they chose them kind of like to be deliberately corny. Like the characters chose them to kind of be deliberately corny. Like I don't know. I don't want to say like they're doing it ironically because I hate people that do that. Um, but just, like it's very like the Cyclops last, they're very much like, yeah, this is like this is this is the name. This is the code name. And they're like, well, and it's like it's very Legion of Superheroes. And it's like I feel like that kind of weird superhero nostalgia wouldn't be as corny in an actual Marvel universe. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. I'm still very excited to see where this book is going. Plus, we have the looming threat of their friend Cole, who was sick and then apparently got better because of some weird ass gene tampering.
Yeah.
So I feel like he's either going to be joining the team at some point or, kind of become, go all Harry Osborn on them.
Right. Yeah, it can go either way.
we got about 15 minutes to finish up, and I know we're probably gonna get in depth on some of these other books. So let's jump to Viet. Viet's turn, right?
Yes. Yeah, I feel like a lot of like this is like as a group, I feel like these books were and maybe just because I read these all today and I was super sleepy and grumpy the entire day. But like these are probably like not saying that they're bad, but these are probably like the worst set just because it just seemed like a lot of them were just kind of treading water till the gala. And like Marauders, I felt like that. Like issue number 20. Although that is a dope ass cover. Of Marauders, but it is let's see, written by Jerry Duggan, art by Stefano Caselli, colors by Edgar Delgado and Chris Sotomayor, and letters by Corey Petit. And this is sort of just Storm's going away party, pretty much. And
which I feel like I missed something. Where is she going?
They haven't said.
Okay. All right, then I don't feel as bad then.
But yeah, and like they're just kind of giving stories about about when Storm was badass. And they had that cool thing where like she always keeps like a ton of knives with her. Which is fun.
Good callback too.
And then I don't know, like why would you even trust Sebastian Shaw still? Like why do you even keep him around? Like why didn't you put him in the pit with Sabretooth? Like why does he still need to be a thing?
I don't know. Maybe he's useful? Change? I don't know. It's a good question, and maybe we'll see where things fall out of this. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't keep him around either, but I guess he has a purpose. They need him. I like the fact that they made comment about bringing people back that haven't been backed up. That was an interesting thing to bring up. Go ahead, Thatch.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, like along those lines, Lourdes, like I don't know who that is, so I don't know if other people know who that is. And again, that's just one of my blind spots. Or
no, she appeared in a X-Men classic backup story written by Claremont.
Oh wow! So they're going way back then.
Yeah. Yeah. When they did the X-Men Classic line, they were reprinting Claremont's run from the beginning, but then they were adding backups to it for a while.
Yeah.
So new stories, they're putting it back up. She appeared there briefly, and that's actually going to be reprinted in the next Marauder story. They'll actually put that short story in there, so you will get to read it.
Interesting.
All
but
right,
yeah,
we got 11 minutes, so wrap it up, and then that's going to be your pick.
All right.
Anybody else got something
let's
else?
let's do Hellions number 11, because as delightful and funny as it was, I do kind of feel like this for me, more so than X Factor, felt like, oh shit, I thought we had another issue. We don't. Okay, cool. Let's wrap up this arcade shit then. It's not bad, but it just kind of goes very quickly. And where in the hell? Why is none of this in alphabetical order? It's fucking maddening.
Zeb Wells and Steven
Segovia on art, and then David Curiel on colors, and Ariana Maher on letters. So yeah, like, I mean,
amazing.
Yeah, like, it looks great, and mostly toothless Sinister is hilarious.
Yeah.
But like the way that all of a sudden it's just like, okay, yeah, they're all sort of like finding each other, even though, like, Mastermind's doing stuff. I don't know. And then it's like, oh, hey, it was like a triple cross. It's interesting. I mean, obviously they're setting up, more stuff for the future with these, and like keeping Psylocke really under Sinister's thumb.
She's not happy about that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it didn't sort of like end with as much promise as I kind of was expecting from that first issue, but what are you gonna do?
But yeah, like the big twist of Sinister basically having a clever ploy to double cross Arcade and use Murder World as a new cloning facility is a crazy journey.
Well, the tooth thing wasn't really planned for, but
right, yeah, and I love that they were just like, you let him do that. He's like, well, it had to be convincing.
All right, 8 minutes.
Just centrifuges.
Yeah, I was chuckling with that stuff there too. That was very funny. Why is this dog sneezing? Yeah, I mean, it was solid stuff. The Betsy with the Mojo stuff on her face is creepy as hell.
Yeah,
as it's supposed to be.
Super creepy.
As it's supposed to be. Well, the bread and butter, which I kept leaving for you guys to talk about, but no.
Wolverine number 12. Let's go. Not really.
Oh, Wolverine number 12.
X-Men number 20.
These guys can't get a break.
Oh, well, more than that, I mean, for as smart as Xavier and Magneto are, they are just being terrible to Mystique, and I don't understand how they don't think that's not going to come and bite them in the ass later.
Yeah.
They're just asking for problems. Am I the only one seeing that?
Yeah, no, it's like, I don't want to say it's like out of character, but it's a little out there. That they're like, yeah, we said we would bring your dead wife back, but yeah, you fucked up. So you know what happens? She stays dead. Eat a bag of dicks if you don't like it.
Yeah.
I mean, why even give her that memory back that she failed the mission, or that that previous conversation about it at all? Why not just take that away and not let her remember that? It's just, I mean, they know who Mystique is. God knows all the crazy shit she's pulled in the past, from, you know, blowing up Muir Island and killing Moria and all kind of other crazy stuff. And they're playing with fire. They really should know better.
And overall, like, I hate being this guy, because usually when I'm like reading something or watching something, I'm pretty good at suspending my disbelief. But there's a part of me that's like, yeah, like after, that first initial, like, oh, hey, they're, building, Sentinels and a Nimrod, they're trying to build Nimrod like at the space station out by the sun. Knowing that, and then also having a gate there, and then also having the ability to resurrect people, I kind of don't understand why they didn't just immediately just send everyone.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they're building, this, super robot that's going to kill us all in the future. Literally everybody, let's go. A lot of us are going to die, but this is literally the most important thing that we're doing. And don't worry, you've all been backed up.
Yeah. We have a legion.
Yeah. Like, or like, even like, Magneto, and, you've got there are two Zorns.
Yeah.
I find it like really odd. Not even odd. It's just like kind of strange that Nimrod has finally been created in our time, even though he was always a Sentinel from the future.
Mm-hmm.
Before, now he's actually here, and his whole personality and how he loses basically half of himself. It's pretty tragic and terrible, and you can understand the doctor who created him, her frustration behind everything. She was just trying to bring back her husband, and now because once again, what the mutants do, she's lost him again. He's incomplete, which I think is going to mess with his humanity and probably leading to one of the reasons why the machines eventually overtake mankind, not just mutants. So, yeah. Self-fulfilling prophecy, Magneto and Xavier just set things into motion themselves.
Right. And and like, I mean, they have to be talking with Moira, right? Like she's plotting, like they're plotting this out. Like they know everything.
When you see at the end, well, they don't exactly know everything because it does change from time to time.
Right.
But you see her at the end with Destiny's Diaries, and that's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
We're going back there. I mean, Hickman has just really been pulling into the whole history of the X-Men. I mean, the Diaries were the main part of Extreme X-Men back in the day when Claremont came back the second time and had his own book and team. So, and then of course the ending, this Fall Inferno, which they've announced mini-series from Hickman. It was exciting. I really love this issue a lot.
Yeah. My favorite part though is when Nimrod's been created, he takes his wife and loving embrace, and they're talking about like how happy they are, and he's like, as am I, I'm happy. That guy's a mutant, right there. Yeah. Like that's right. No, to the left.
Yeah, squirrel.
To the left. Between you two, your other, fuck it, I'll just shoot them. That was hilarious.
That was good.
But yeah, and it also, like, seeing Nimrod in action, you forget how insanely badass he is. Like the whole, like, yeah, I can make a duplicate, and yeah, I've got a disintegration ray, and yeah, I can, do all this other shit.
Now, the whole black hole weapon that Forge created, I swear to you, I was thinking that like Rasputin was gonna come popping out of it or something. Because once again, the Phalanx and all that other stuff is on the other side of black hole, which is outside of time and space, so it's not affected by our reality. So, there's a bridge there. It's literally, they can come at any time. They can connect. So, wait for that ball to drop.
Yeah, there's literally he's not on their side, but there's literally a mutant that can make black holes. Like, you should probably send him off to kill all the Sentinels. Probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, here's
Again,
the other thing now. They've transported one of the Nimrods got caught up in it, so one of them has already been pushed over into through the back hole into the other side. So who the hell knows what's happening now that he's over there with I'm assuming the one with most of the memories of this human side. Once that goes with the Phonics, he's gonna want to come back.
yeah.
Yeah, and then like, why did you go with a black hole? Like, why not just a giant explosion?
You would think that Moria would know better at least, but I don't know. It's fallacy, I guess. They have to have some kind of.
Yeah, like again, like Thatcher was saying earlier, just like if it's sort of like, yeah, they could just like, yeah, Gandalf could have just got on a bird and dropped the ring, but then
Yeah. So yeah, it's not a lot of stuff, but, and then in Wolverine 12, there's vampires still. That's still happening.
That's the one book I didn't read, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
9 seconds.
Yeah, that's all you need. Vampires still.
Vampires still. Wolverine bomb. Wait, was that this issue or did I get ahead of myself?
It's a cool cover though.
Yeah, it was a cool cover. Trying to figure out which way it's supposed to go. All right, hour is up. Good run, fellas. Good run.
Yeah. Next
one
month.
thing to comment on Wolverine just before we finish all this. Death is back. Leave it at that.
Oh yeah. That was the one thing that was cool. Because they're like, yeah, we did not forget about the fact that we literally have like a dimension or like a world or whatever that's populated by these other vampires. So yeah, like if we're gonna do vampires, here you go. We got your vampires.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one last thing, but back to X-Men 20 real quick. I love the fact that the doctors came to this revelation that the mutants don't just hate them, but also fear them. So it was a nice reversal of the mutant metaphor there.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So next month we will be hitting up the Hellfire Gala.
Yep, and we'll be there on the red carpet for you guys on episode 96, where we're talking about the X books of June 2021. Viet, we were talking about your stream earlier. We're on your stream now. For those that are catching this later on, tell us more about what you got going on.
Yeah, so people can follow me at Comedian Viet on all the social medias, and I do a Twitch stream every Tuesday and Sunday nights and Friday mornings, where I work on my toy commissions and chat with folks.
Busy Bee.
Yes.
What about you, Thatch? Where can people find you and your?
You can find me at all of your favorite social media destinations at Demon Weasel, including a webpage, www.demonweasel.com. You can also find my books and comics on Amazon and Comixology, respectively. Believe it or not, I'm the only Thatcher E. Cleveland on there. So it's wild, I know. Yeah, and Corwin, what about you? Where are you nowadays?
Mainly, people can find me on Twitter at EMPcast. Of course, you can always come hang out with us on our Discord page, as well as our Facebook group page. Just head to earthsmightestpodcast.com. You'll see all the links to everything there. Come hang out with us. Come chat with us. Come let us know what you think. Once again, thank you to Stein for rating it. Stein, right? Did I say that right?
Steen. Yeah.
For rating, bringing some people in, for hanging out with us for an hour or so. We really do appreciate it.
Indeed, yes. Shout out to Steve Brunson, and if you've seen my Funko Pops and you notice that like, hey, those are some cool looking boxes that come with those. Yeah, Steam Brunson does that. She's the one that designs my boxes. So
Thumbs up.
yeah. And I just, for anybody still listening in the Twitch stream, I just put exclamation point Discord, and then there's a link to our Discord.
Woohoo!
All right. With that, I think we can call it a night. We are proud members of of a podcast network. You can follow the hashtag #TheCollectiveNet, and there's like us and a bunch of other comic centric podcasts that you can follow. And I also like pretty much retweet everything that they post. So, all right. And I guess we will see y'all on the red carpet of the Hellfire
Yes.
Gala next month.
Yes,
Come dressed to
indeed.
impress.
Yes,
Mhm.
I got all my chains and my and my floofs.
Don't make me go Joan Rivers on you guys' asses. All right. Nobody wants that.
Indeed.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye bye.
Peace.
And ending stream now.